evening, YouTube family. Welcome to another Two Family Homestead live stream. Woo!
It's Monday night, right?
It is
Monday night. Hey, everybody.
That's why you're saying hi to everybody and I'm not.
Oh, is that it?
Because it's Monday night.
Because you won't do it.
Because you're starting the week out.
Because I hide on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
I sweep up the crumbs on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
He sweeps up the crumbs. I don't think I have seen him with a broom handle for quite a while.
Every time that you clog the vacuum cleaner, I unplug it.
I have too many females in here. They're going to get you. You just wait. Cameron Bose, Terry, City Girl Country Heart, Geeky Gardens, Brenda from Duncan 1900, Granny, Frammy, my goodness, woman. Yeah, 3 a.m. I know it's a godly hour over there in Germany. Twin Brook Acres, hello, welcome. I don't think I've ever seen you in here. Miss Allie, I did a video where the girls were digging into the box and fighting over who was going to get what cookies and who was going to get what piece of candy. And if it was up to them, each of them would have had one of my socks. But I got to figure out how to get it so you can see it. So I might have to do it as a private YouTube video and just give you the link. I'm not sure. The Rusty Pepper, how are you? Beehive Homestead, Stringfield, I hope you're feeling better, Teresa. Paul from Holland, Dutch Off Grid. Goodness gracious. Rosie Side Farm, farming our backyard. I'm going all the way up here. Daniel, God is my judge. Are you still in here? Do you have snow over there? Pafford Homestead, how are you? They can barely hear me. Is that a bad thing, Terry, that you can barely hear me? I got to look up, see what Cam on Bose said. Hey, lay off my beautiful, sweet friend. We're going to get you, Daryl. See? I knew they'd be right back there. Well, I mean, the worst thing is, everybody, he pushed me off the bed at 1 o'clock this morning.
No, I didn't.
Hey, Mama Z. How you doing, kiddo? Have you pushed that fudge aside?
I am sound asleep at 1 o'clock. I don't move. You have said that. You have said when I am sleeping, I'm dead to the world.
Nobody said that you were sound asleep at 1 a.m. I got City Girl Country Heart here. She can testify that's not always the case. Terry's on my side on this one.
Well, it was last night.
Sound is good. Yep, and some snow in the woods. See, Terry's laughing there. They know that when I get on sometimes at 2, 3 in the morning and Terry's on, I jump on her live and she goes, "This must be Daryl because I know Sherry's sleeping." And the last time I did that, I go, "No, he's sleeping. It's me. I'm awake."
Yeah. Let the cat out of the bag, didn't you?
Yep. Rosanna Dana, how are you? Can you, Sherry? Mama Z, is that fudge getting to you, sweetheart? Did you finish all the fudge yet? She made fudge Saturday morning on her live on What's My Plate.
And then Saturday night she had a live stream eating it all.
And then, well, when she does her Marcos, this afternoon she had some right here, and I couldn't. It was live, so I couldn't go. Mama Z, you have chocolate on your.
It's drooling out the corner of her mouth.
It was so good. It was so good. Yeah.
Well, she needs to make vanilla fudge so it doesn't show up so much.
I'm going to make vanilla, or I can make peanut butter fudge. That way I know you won't touch it.
Yeah, that would look like poop coming out.
Jeez. Okay, folks, and with that, we'll start the show. Oh, my Lord.
Hey, let's go to Wisconsin. What do you say?
Farmer Meemaw. Yes, let's go to Wisconsin.
Ready?
Where I hear they have lots of cheese.
Are you ready?
Well, yeah, I'm always ready.
Here she is.
Okay.
Hi, guys.
Out of Goshen. Long time no see, family. How are you? What's up in Michigan? So here's Kathleen.
Even though I'm from Wisconsin. Shh.
Don't let everybody know. She's up that way somewhere. Terry, I have some fudge that you can make with a can of frosting and 2 cups of peanut butter. Some lady at the nursing home when I was the nursing secretary there taught me that one. It comes out not too bad. It doesn't get hard like fudge does, but, you know. Yeah, where to begin Homestead? Now I need fudge, you know. Out of Goshen, they are expecting their 8th child.
I heard that.
8.
I heard it.
You have one for each of the candles on. Yeah,
What
they have one for each of the candles on the menorah.
But
I never thought about that.
what boggles my mind is, didn't he's a doctor, is he not?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
He knows what causes it.
I was going to say he certainly should know.
Maybe they don't care.
Number
More
8.
area, right?
Oh, Lordy. And they're not that far from us now. They're in Michigan.
Well, yeah, but they're still up there a ways.
Yeah, we'd have to cross the border. I mean, Ohio, Michigan.
I bet it's probably a 5-hour drive to get to their place.
Okay.
Well, that's a ways.
Okay.
I mean, we can get to Kentucky in 3.
But we can't see anybody in Kentucky in 3. Okay, enough about that. Let's go back to our guest.
So tell us what's going on in the northern states here.
Not a lot. I stay at home all the time. I like to hide out and, like a proper homesteader, I just want to kind of be by myself with the animals and the kids. I can't deny that I have them, although they are conveniently missing right now. But the weather's been actually pretty good, surprising for this time of year.
She is one of the few parents that I know that advertises the fact that she has feral children.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I've said my family's dysfunctional. Could they be feral?
Mine are like feral to where it's a little embarrassing, but they get it from me, so...
So, everything's fine then. Everything's just good.
I mean, like, every Amazon delivery driver and my egg customers have probably all seen my son in his birthday suit because I can't keep his clothes on him.
Okay.
He's 3, so, he can get away with it, but...
Yes.
He just thinks it's his birthday every day.
I try to explain to him that one day he's going to have a girlfriend, and one of these people are going to be like that girl's parents and be like, "You're that little boy that never had clothes on." That's going to be you, buddy.
Yeah.
I can.
Her parents may not like it, but maybe she does.
That sounds like my youngest. He was 4 or 5, and the neighbor down the street, across the street, called, said, "Sherry, where's Sean?" Go, I think he's watching TV. She said, "You want to go check on him?" So I did. I went, put the phone down because we didn't have cells back there in the olden age. So I put the phone down, walked around the other room in the family room, and there was no Sean. Looked in the living room, went upstairs his bedroom. Sean's gone. I go, I don't know where he's at. She goes, you may want to come over here and get him. I go, he's at your house? Yeah, you may want to bring some clothes. Stark naked.
Yeah.
Out of my house, down the street. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mine has tried to walk down the road. We've caught him before he's gotten to the road, but we can hear the cows that the neighbors have. And he'll put his little boots on and go, "I'm going to see the cows. They're calling me." And I'm like, no, you're not.
Oh, yeah. Oh, goodness. Thank God, Copper Kettle. I wondered where you were. Hey, Darren, behave.
So, Michelle, how long have you been where you're at there now? Did you get married when your husband was in the service? Am I trying to piece together some of this stuff on your page here?
Yeah, so we were 19 when we got married. Kind of crazy. We'd known each other for like a year. He came to my senior prom, and I was like, "Oh, who's that? He's really cute." And things just developed from there. And he joined the military after graduation.
Did he have clothes on? Did he have clothes on?
He did, shockingly.
Okay.
He rode like an electric bull that they had at the after prom party. So maybe that was what I was like, yeah, that's the one for me.
If he can keep in the saddle, he's mine.
Right. But yeah, he went to basic training like right after we graduated, and then we just talked and started dating, and then he proposed actually on New Year's, because why not?
So what?
This is a funny story, off track a little bit. We had been dating for 9 months when he proposed, and I was talking to one of my girlfriends about it on the phone, and my little brother, who is 11 years younger than me, so he was like 8, 9 at the time, was overhearing my conversation and writing it down, and then took this note to my mom that talked about Logan is Michelle's Prince Charming and something about 9 months. And my mom's like, what about 9 months, Michelle? And I'm like, no. And then I was like, oh, and the Prince Charming I was talking about was my cat, but thank you.
That is too funny.
Brothers. But we got married in 2009, so just over 11 years now, and then he was stationed out in Washington. He's in the 2nd Ranger Battalion, so we spent his entire Army career out there. That's nice about the Rangers. They don't really move around like the rest of the Army does. He was in for just short of 10 years, like 9 years, 11 months, and some odd days, basically. He had 8 combat deployments. 7 of them I was out there living with him when that happened. The first one we were just engaged. And then we moved back to Wisconsin after he got out, because this is where all of our family's from. And it was like, Washington is a very expensive place to live. And we had a house, but, you know, we were in LB, Washington, if you look that up. It's a teeny tiny town in the middle of nowhere, like 10 miles from the main entrance to Mount Rainier. So him getting a new job after getting out of the military was going to be hard. And because we didn't have family there and I had all these dang animals, it's like, where are they going to live? So then we came back here. We crashed at my mom's house for 8 months, lived in a camper. And then when it got too cold for the camper, we lived in her garage while we were house hunting. We found this place. We moved in here December of 2018. So it's just almost 2 years, because we moved in right around Christmas. A very long-winded answer.
So where you're at now, is this on the edge of town? Is it clear out of town? I mean, are you close? Are you 30 miles from the nearest Walmart, or?
Okay, no. I've got 2 Walmarts within like 30 minutes of me. So it's definitely different from where we were when we lived in Washington and we were in the middle of nowhere. But, you know, having young kids, a little more convenient to be close to things if I have to be.
So little over 11 acres. Is it developed property? I mean, when you moved in, was it like already kind of a working homestead? You have a
new house. Our house was built in 2015, and so my husband's kind of a city boy. So convincing him of all this stuff, it's all on me. He's just like, no. And then I'm like, but, and kind of drag him into it over time. He didn't want chickens. And I said, chickens are a milk cow, honey. And now we have 25 chickens. So.
She'd get along great with Robin.
But there was a house in the garage, but there was no fencing, no barn, none of that stuff. So we've done all of that. We've cleared a ton of trees because there was just no pasture for the horses, and we've still got so much work we need to do. But it's a process. Mm-hmm. Okay. It was not set up for farming or homesteading at all. There was a very small garden, but it was completely surrounded by trees, and they had even planted a row of pine trees right next to it, and I'm like, why are you planting? Why?
Makes no sense.
No. Sorry, I have a visitor annoying me.
Oh, I thought she was picking up one of the kids. Good heavens!
No, the kids in bed. They're in bed. Yeah, they're in bed. She had her she had her put the kids in bed. Had her Culvers.
Yep. Got my stretchy pants.
So, you've developed not much of a garden into what, a nice big working garden? You had a 30 by 40 foot greenhouse and
I don't have a greenhouse yet. That's on the list. So the garden that was here was maybe 400 or 500 square feet. Very, very poor sandy soil. Like, it's a beautiful golden, like, playground sand, but not great for growing things in. And right now the garden is 4,800 square feet. So it's
you
a lot.
You increase the size. You increase the size considerably.
Yeah, and we would like to expand it more because we do want to put a greenhouse in. It's just, we tried to put one in this summer or this spring, I guess. I really want to do a sunken greenhouse to kind of, use some of the earth to keep it warm. But when we were trying to dig it, the water level was really high and the hole was just flooding and filling back in because it was all sand. So we had to scratch that for now and come back to it at some other time.
So is your husband on board with all this stuff now, or are you still pushing him that direction?
COVID was really good for me in terms of that.
He's home.
Yeah. He's like, oh, maybe we should get some steers and raise some beef. And that didn't happen just because we don't quite have the infrastructure for it yet. But it was like this close to bringing home.
Oh, wow.
2 years. So.
Okay. Well, you have chickens and you said you have horses, but
Yep, I have 2 horses.
But that's just pleasure stuff, right? I mean, are they racehorses?
The horses, they make compost for the garden, and I say they're free therapy, so.
Oh, okay. All right. That's socially acceptable, I guess.
Yeah, the one I actually bought when I was 15, I didn't want my driver's license. I wanted a pony. So that's what I got, and she's still out there eating all my hay, spending all my money.
Yeah, I don't need any driver's license to drive me a horse.
Exactly.
So, where you live now, is that the area you grew up, or?
It's about 45 minutes away from where I grew up. I was familiar with this area, but I had never looked at it as like I would live there. But after living with your mother for 8 months, I'm not sure if you're watching this, Mom, I love you. We were really desperate to get out of her house. So we were like, let's look through like.
Been there, done that. I can understand.
And she was sick of us too, so it was mutual. But because it was us, our 3 cats, the horses, and our 2 dogs. And she has Great Pyrenees as well, so it was just like it was. Yes. So
is your parents? Did you grow up on a farm? That's where I'm kind of going with this. Did you have a farming background at all?
With horses. So personally, that's what I've grown up doing. I've always been in horse barns and training barns and breeding, and I trained professionally before we had kids. That is what I do. I have never worked an inside job. I've always been all day working at 1 or 2 horse farms, house sitting for people. You name it with horses, I've pretty much done it. Except for weird things, because this is YouTube. No weird things, guys.
Darren's mind and Terry's mind just went.
I was just like, maybe I shouldn't say yeah, we'll just continue. My grandpa, my mom's dad, and mom, they were like complete homesteaders, built their houses out of recycled materials. They were even on HGTV. God, I think in the early 2000s. And
wow,
it was True and Amazing Homes or something. And their house is like the recycled something. We have the old episode of it. My grandpa's like that super homesteader that doesn't want to talk to anybody and, no. So I'm like, I would love to put it on YouTube and be like, look, this is where I come from. But one, I don't know, like the legal rights with it because it is an HGTV show, even though it's defunct. And then 2, my grandpa is so private, but it's a beautiful house. We actually looked into maybe purchasing it because it had been for sale again when we were moving here, but it wasn't set up for livestock. They grew all of their own produce and like hunted, but they didn't have livestock. So, and it was not built for kids because they didn't have young children when they built that house. So it was like crazy stairways that no insurance company would approve and things that kids are going to like fall out of and break an arm, which is not ideal if you have a young boy.
So do you and your husband do any hunting?
My husband does. He didn't get any deer this year, and he shoots squirrels and rabbits occasionally for the dogs. I thought about hunting with him this year for deer, just because I'm home more and can get out and try more. He's got such a busy work schedule. He can only get out for a few days, but I never got my license this year, and then I should have.
Well, there's always next year.
Yeah, it'll probably happen next year because I do all the gutting and the processing. He won't do that because remember, he's a city boy. He doesn't want to do the gross things.
So you hang them up and just reach your hands right up into that nice warm cavity and grab a hold of.
And it weirds them out. But the school that I went to, we did like taxidermy classes and wildlife classes and all these fun things. So I'm like, yeah, I got this.
Good.
And he's like, ew.
I'm with you.
The first time he ever shot a rabbit, he brings it to me and he's like, oh, I need to go get my field guide to figure out how to process this. And I was like, what? And I did the little slit in the machine. He was like,
I'm going to say by the time he gets a chance to get the book, you've already got it stripped and
that's where the don't piss me off mode comes in.
yeah. He got a little nervous when he saw me processing the deer last year because it was a little buck and I just cut things off and threw him over the fence to the dogs and that freaked him out a little bit, but got to keep him on his toes.
Just be careful. I know where you sleep.
Yep, exactly. You got that right. You go, girl. I mean, more power to you. I think it's great when you can do that. I can't. He may be a city boy. I'm a city girl. I truly am.
So, in your growing up, I take it you grew up around gardens and stuff, and so you have a background with some canning, some processing, maybe a little bit of prepping. But I want to get back to the horses just for a moment. You indicated that you've done some training and stuff, and you were talking now. Are we talking like standard breds, quarter horses, or just pleasure horses, or the type of horses that the Amish have, what I'm going to call work horses?
So the main types of barns that I worked at are actually more show barns.
Okay.
I worked at the Morgan Farm. The last one that I worked at was really big into Arabians, but I mean, I've ridden, Gypsy Vanners, which are like the big, stocky, hairy ones, and tons of quarter horses, paints, Appaloosas, Hanoverians, everything, anything in between. Like I said, I've been in the horse world for so long. That's like, I don't show that on YouTube a lot, honestly, because I'm so picky about horse care and everything that I'm like, I don't know that I even want to get into it on YouTube because it's just, I'm too picky. We're with like gardening and stuff, I'm a lot more relaxed and woohoo, this is fun. I take my horse stuff very seriously.
I'm gonna guess you've even done some barrel racing along the way.
For fun, but not professionally. I don't, as much as I've trained show horses, I don't necessarily like showing myself. If it's on my own horse, I'm fine. I get really nervous showing clients' horses because they're paying you to train and show their horses. So you want to do, the best. And if the horse screws up, it's the rider's fault. There was a miscommunication and it's because of something the rider wasn't getting across. So I have a harder time. There's a really bad video out there that one of my clients has when I was an assistant trainer. And they put me in an English saddle that I had not ridden on this like 17-hand tall thoroughbred. So I'm just like this little tiny thing up on this huge horse. And I was shaking like a leaf. I couldn't even post like I was just flopping around like a dead fish on this horse, and I'm like, this is really embarrassing. My boss should just fire me right now because clients are here watching this. It was not good.
I am sure that we have people in the chat right now that are going 17 hands. What is she talking about?
I doubt it. I think they know.
You think? I bet there's people that
4
don't.
inches to a hand, so how many 4 inches are in 17 hands? I'm not good at math, so don't ask me to math
if it was 20, it would be 80 inches. So we'll take 8 inches off of that. Was it take 12 inches off of that, so we're down to 78 inches in height, which is what, 6 foot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, and my horse
and you're only 4 foot, right? And you're only 4 foot. You're only 4 foot tall, right?
Pretty much. I'm 5'4", so I might as well be 4 foot.
I mean, you have to get up on the horse to dunk a basketball.
Yeah.
Not if she uses one of those little kids one.
Well, not other than the horse stuff. I'm not very athletically inclined, so I might need the horse even for the short one.
So, do you consider yourself a prepper?
A little bit. I'd like to get into it more. I really did a lot of dehydrating this year. I have a hard time with canning just because, for me, anything that I'm growing, I want the nutritional value from it. That's the big reason that I save things. And you lose so much of the nutritional value when you can things. So I'm doing more dehydrating and freezing. I looked into doing the freeze drying, but those machines are really expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, maybe not now. Right now, really the only thing that I can is like salsa, jams, pickles, easy things like that.
Well, and your growing season up there is probably a little bit on the shorter side than most.
Yeah, it's not. Most things we can't plant until the beginning of June, and then like tomatoes and peppers we can't plant until June. And usually by about mid-September they die off.
But what's your favorite thing to grow?
Probably tomatoes. They're so good. I love a fresh tomato.
My kind of girl. I loved. I've we didn't have a garden last year because we were on the road. No, last year we weren't on the road. Yeah, we were. 2019. We didn't have a whole lot, but usually I have no less than 12 varieties of tomatoes. No less than.
No less than 30.
And then multiples of each one of those.
Yeah. Insane.
And I'm the only one that likes tomatoes.
And
ketchup, salsa, and tomato soup. Anything processed.
The tomatoes that come out of our garden are so interbred. Nobody else has them like it.
My kids love fresh tomatoes too. They go out there and they just pop them like candy.
Oh yeah,
so
yeah.
I have like 2 months in the summer where I don't need to feed them for half the day because they're in the garden eating tomatoes.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. My brother told him that the best thing to do. When my brother was here one time, he came in the house first and got a salt shaker. Then says, "Come on, girls," and he took them out in the garden. And they said, "Well, Uncle Perry, we already come out and get cucumbers and eat tomatoes." He says, "But this is the correct way." So he sat down, was picking tomatoes and putting salt on them. They just looked at me like, "Who is this guy?" Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little curious with all you folks out there in the chat. Anybody feel like getting on the phone or not? Or you want me to open up the phone lines? Or you all just want to just kind of listen to us? Try to see if we can get her to make a mistake in her comments or something here. So let's do this. All right. Folks, the phone line's scrolling across the top of the screen. Feel free, if you would like to, call in and just say hello. Say hi to Michelle. Ask her how things are up in Wisconsin. If she's sitting under 6 inches of snow yet or not.
Not yet.
Not yet, but it's coming. Is that what you're saying? How close
are you? Saturday.
How close are you to Milwaukee, just for curiosity's sake?
I think 2.5, 3 hours.
So you're further north.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what's Paige is in Wisconsin. We have a great granddaughter in Wisconsin.
Yeah, we do.
Never met her. But she's there.
Are you familiar with the Weekend Homestead channel?
That doesn't sound familiar.
I know he's up in Wisconsin somewhere.
I don't. Is he even heard of anymore on YouTube?
I don't know.
Okay, Terry. You don't have to tell her that it can be frozen and shipped. I know what you're talking about. I don't even have to scroll back and read. I'm talking about cheesecakes.
Cheesecake.
That was 2 years ago.
I heard.
And I'm minus 2 of the springform pans.
I heard something fall.
Yeah, wasn't at our house.
The cat knocked something over.
I was going to say, is everything okay over there?
They're asking if you ferment. Do you ferment your any vegetables?
Pickles and salsa so far. Right now, I'm trying to ferment. What am I doing? I'm trying to make it's not an apple cider vinegar because I didn't make apple cider out of it, but just like an apple vinegar. I don't know if that counts as fermenting or not, but.
You need to try carrots.
I keep hearing that.
Rob,
but I love the garden fresh carrots so much. Like, they're so, and I'm so weird. I try and, because Logan thinks I'm a freak, because I take them out and when they're fresh picked and you smell them and it smells like sweet carrot and dirt. And I'm like, honey, smell this dirty carrot. And he's like, no thanks.
Yeah, Daryl's he does that with potatoes. He won't eat the skin. But they're washed, Daryl. I don't care. They grow into the ground. Okay, fine. But yeah, Robin from Big Bear Homestead last year had made some fermented carrots, and I never had them, but I tried them. It's like, yeah, okay, can I take a jar home? Yeah. They were awesome. Yeah.
People tell me to ferment and pickle my eggs too, but I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Yes, CJM salsa is super easy. It's like, yeah, there's nothing to salsa.
Yeah.
And you said the phone lines are up? Oh, yeah, the phone number is going across the top.
It sure is.
Yep. And they're still talking about cheesecakes. Somebody here, I guess, is making cheesecake and going to ship them out. Not sure who, but somebody is. Crystal, how did your teddy bear turn out? Oh, yeah. Fermented. You've never heard of fermented carrots? Yeah. Oh, they were awesome. Yeah. Damn you, now you sound like Grizz. So what other questions do we have to pick her brain with?
Well, I don't know. I really thought we'd get somebody calling in here. I really did. Let's see.
360 Homestead. You mean it's not spring already? I am so ready. I mean, I've had enough cold weather. It snowed once. That's all I need.
I'm not very big on YouTube yet, so when I sent you guys the thing however many months ago to see, I thought you guys were gonna be like, I don't know who this lady is, but she's not invited to our party.
Oh no, everybody's invited.
They have 11 acres, Terry.
Yep.
360 used to run a mail order cheesecake business back in the early 2000s. Just cheesecakes? Really?
Wow.
I'd have to buy into Philadelphia cream cheese with as much cream cheese as mine makes as I have to use.
Well, that would have to get a forklift to move them out.
Yes, Darren, I know it's summer there, and it's 115 degrees. I'm sorry, that's Fahrenheit. You'll have to convert it for me for Celsius, right? Because I know you will. Sure, Brenda, order pizza before you fall asleep. Possum pizza?
So what's on your plans for the next? Do you have a 5-year plan for your homestead? You had mentioned maybe a greenhouse coming up. You'd like to do a greenhouse. You just talked a little bit about some pasture, some infrastructure where you can
Yeah.
put cows and pigs and other.
Oh, I would love it. The main thing we're trying to get done right now, our property is fully wooded. We are trying to get it cleared. So we have a logger lined up. We're just trying to wait to get our schedules together where he can come out, and he's pretty much going to clear cut the property. He's going to leave a few trees here and there because I tap like my maple trees for maple syrup in the spring, like running around marking my maple trees that he can't have. But we're going to get all those trees cleared out, and then we need to fence the whole property. We bought fencing to fence the entire property within a month of living here, and then quickly realized that our oak trees have oak wilt and just fall over randomly all the time. So we don't really want to spend the money of putting the fencing up just to have it broken. So we're trying to get all of these diseased trees cleared out, put up fencing, and then the next thing we need to figure out is drainage in the back. We're kind of the low spot for all of our neighbors, so the water just drains down into the back of our property. And because of all these trees that have fallen down there, it's like dammed up, and half of the year it's complete mud that you can do nothing with. Like, my husband got an excavator stuck in it up to the cab because the mud was so deep.
Wow.
So
It's a swamp in Wisconsin.
yeah. So we're gonna try and clear out all the dead stuff and kind of redefine that water canal, because there was a path for it. It's just been so not taken care of that it's going to be a lot of work. And then we're hoping to get more grazing for the horses, and then, like I said, add cows. Part of the reason I decided not to get any this year was because our horses have to eat hay every single day. We do not have enough pasture here, so I feed hay 24/7, 365. I do not want to do that for a beef cow because that's not actually worth it at that point. So, like, if we can get some pasture, that would be really nice. I go back and forth on if I want a milk cow at some point. We'll see. Husband is still a city kid. As much as he lets me have the animals, he has nothing to do with them. I mean, I was in labor with my kids feeding the animals, and shortly after giving birth to my children feeding the animals. So he's not going to do anything with them. So if I get a milk cow, that it's on me because he's not interested. So I have to decide if that's another thing that I want to put on my plate to take care of it. Basically, he pays for it, and then I run the ship.
CJM Farms, how many months of the year do you get snow?
Usually, we've had snow a few times this year, but usually it doesn't stick until right around Christmas. It's like December, the end of December, January, February, March, sometimes April, sometimes May. I've seen it in June, but that's like a weird year for us to have snow in June, but it can happen.
Trip H is, you can do a lot with fodder to feed cows and horses, and even would cut the hay bill down a lot.
Yeah. So my horses, because I've had them forever, this is just going to make everyone not want horses on a homestead even more. My horses are older and both have health problems at this point. So my pony that I bought when I was 15 has Cushing's disease, which is like an insulin problem. So she's on daily medication. And then my other horse, Abby, she has Heaves, which is like horsey asthma. So I have to be really careful what I feed them and my husband is really on the fence about ever allowing another horse again because he's like, what the heck? I'm like, they're so cute.
Daniel Gosma Drud says, try goats. You get milk, meat, and they eat weeds.
So my neighbor has goats. She just got them this year. And I don't think that my husband would like goats because I know that they can be a little bit naughty. They're hard on fencing. They will eat other things they're not supposed to if they escape.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be good escape artists.
Yeah, and because my husband is not an animal person, an animal that's going to be naughty would not last around here. So I always figure, because the neighbor and I, we're on great terms. I love the neighbor, that maybe if our back pasture gets totally overgrown and they don't have any place, I'll be like, you can bring your goats over, for the day, and they can eat all of our poison ivy, but they can't stay here.
Yep. I think that's what we need. We need to find somebody in the spring with some goats and have them come and they can eat the back where the garden is.
When we lived in Washington, there were people that had like actual businesses where they rent out their goats to clear people's property. It's like a huge thing advertised everywhere.
Yeah, rent a goat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, where you're at, is there? Are you like in the middle of a lot of, say, 10, 11 acre parcels of property? I mean, is everything kind of the same? Are you kind of maybe an 11 acre parcel that's in the middle of a 500 acre farm, or?
I think we're kind of one of the smaller ones, honestly. This area used to be owned by one big farm, and then he's kind of split it off and sold it off as needed over years. Our property was cattle pasture 50 years ago, which is kind of a pain in the butt, because when they decided it wasn't going to be useful for cattle pasture anymore, probably because of the flooding problems in the back, they just left the fencing to fall over and rot in the ground. So a lot of what we've been doing here over the last 2 years is going out there with like a metal detector to find this fencing that's buried under the ground, because you won't know it's there until you trip on it. And it's 4 foot tall field fencing, and then it's got 3 strands of barbed wire over top of it. So it's not very safe.
So
it's been a project.
So the entire property, it was all fenced. I mean, there was some infrastructure there.
Yeah.
And then something happened that caused a rise in the water table in that area, do you think, or?
I don't know. I feel like because the oak trees have the oak wilt so bad, they really dammed it up just from falling over. I have a few videos showing out in the backwoods, and you can see it. I actually had someone leave a snarky comment about our pasture would be so beautiful if we cleaned up all the deadfall. And I'm like, okay, you come help. It's everywhere.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Sure.
Yeah. It's like a rampant beaver ran around back there 20 years ago and killed 1 million trees and then just left them all.
Wow, that's crazy. So have you built a barn? I mean, have you built some buildings?
Yeah, so our first winter here, we had a polar vortex and we had -50 temperatures. And I was like, while my horses did great in that weather, they're older and I didn't want to have them deal with that again. So I had savings set aside. That my mom was really great and set up savings for me when I was little. And then my dad passed away when I was 10 and had savings for me. So I used most of that money to build a barn for the horses, which I'm like, thank you, parents, for my horse barn. But yeah, so we have the horse barn and the chicken coop and then some fencing.
So is this a wooden barn structure, or is this a pole barn, like a metal barn?
With metal siding on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And I built it like oversized. It looks ridiculous. My mom came out to see it and she's like, why is it so big? And I'm like, well, I can put a hayloft in it and it's tall enough that I can still drive my horse trailer under and into it if I need to. So.
And then on the 3rd floor, we have apartments. And
Logan was like, can I put like a little shooting stand up here? Because it looks out really nice over the rest of the property. And I'm like, no, I really don't need you shooting out of the top of the barn.
Oh, I love it.
I can see this wavy slide going out the top.
That's
top
what I was
window.
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He shoots so much, my horses don't even care. He has people come over because he sights guns in for friends and family members, and they'll come over and they'll shoot, and the horses are like 20 feet away, and people are like, they don't even care. And I'm like, no, he shoots all the time. They don't even bat an eyelash at it. They're like, whatever, Logan, do what you want.
Oh, crazy. All right. So what would you like to accomplish this next year? I mean, before you answer that, how bad did the situation that this year has caused everybody, how bad did it hurt your plans for your homestead and just personally with what you wanted to do and accomplish? I mean, did it really hurt you a lot, or were you able to kind of just forge ahead?
Not too bad. Mostly, I'd say the lumber prices, they've gone through the roof.
Yeah.
So we wanted to finish the interior of the barn because we didn't put in that hayloft yet, or we didn't put in my tack room. That was on the schedule for this year. And it's like, well, we're not going to spend 4 times the amount that we would have to do it. So we'll just wait. It's functional as it is. We can wait. And like the greenhouse, I'd say it's just kind of delayed a few projects. It hasn't completely screwed things up because we just shifted what we were doing. So instead of finishing the inside of the barn, we were working on clearing all of the junk out of the back pasture and getting that cleared of trees and things like that. So it just kind of changed the schedule.
So where do you see yourself in, say, 5-10 years?
And while you're answering that, I'm going to let somebody in the room here.
I'm afraid for you to do that.
That's hard because we really wanted more land. We wanted 20 acres or more. We had 17.9 acres at our house in Washington, and we didn't feel like that was enough. So going down to 11 was like, this is really a bummer. But all the houses that were on the market that had more land were really, really old and worn down. And we're like, we're going to spend $500,000 fixing this house. So we're going to go smaller plot of land with a nicer house because we have the young kids. And it's a small house, but it was built in 2015. So there's not, despite my kids flooding the upstairs, there's not a lot that we need to do to it. So I'd like to say we'll have the infrastructure to have more animals here and, start raising some of our like own meat animals here and sell more produce from my garden because I did that a little bit this year and kind of expand on those things. But if we find that perfect property that's bigger than this, close to his work, I think we would jump ship.
Okay, Michelle, we have got somebody on the phone here. Now I'm hearing a little bit of an echo.
Because they don't have their computer turned off.
Yeah, I'm thinking this might be coming all the way back from overseas there. I don't know.
No, it's not coming from me.
I knew it.
It's not coming from you?
Nope.
Well, hey, you say hi to everybody.
Hello, everyone. See,
Hi.
no echo.
Michelle, can you hear him okay?
Yep, we can.
Okay.
It's you. You're echoing. Michelle's not echoing. Darren's not echoing.
Sherry's not echoing.
It's you. Mm-hmm. I am talking. It's echoing somewhere on our side. Ahmed's not on here, Terry. Yeah, see now it's echoing me too. We'll just let them, Michelle and Darren, talk. So floor's all
Michelle,
yours, Darren.
you were talking about all the wood that's down there. Have you ever thought of asking someone to come in and cut that up for lumber?
We haven't really decided. We're kind of waiting to
Now
see
the
what
sound's
happens after we get the trees cleared. because right now it's so covered, it doesn't really get a lot of sunlight. So we're like, either clearing the trees is going to help dry things out, or clearing the trees is going to make it a heck of a lot worse because they're not soaking up all the water. So we're kind of going to give it a year to see what happens after it's cleared, and then figure out what the heck we're going to do after that. It might be more trouble, but one thing at a time, holding my breath.
This is simply a test. Can anybody hear me?
I'm not sure what you're doing, Daryl, but I can't hear a thing.
You can't hear me. Michelle, you can't hear me either.
I can hear you.
All right.
And I can hear an echo.
And you can hear an echo.
My echo, too. It's our side. And we can't hang up and try again.
Have you got two phones? Have you got a phone connected as well, Daryl?
Well, that was a good thought. Is it still doing that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't hear it anymore.
You forgot to disconnect Skype.
No.
What was it?
No, because with Zoom, I have to maintain a connection.
Well, that's right. He calls in on Zoom.
So I always
That's right.
call in on Zoom,
Okay.
and I leave it with everything turned down.
Okay. Found it.
So we're good. We're unbroken. I'm sorry. Darren, go right ahead. You are temporarily the host here. You go right ahead.
Oh, Lord.
I think I'll get a cup of coffee.
There's a bottle of wine on the counter. Floor's yours, Darren. Speak up. Did Darren leave?
Die.
Says he's here. Are you here?
Yes, I am here.
There he is. Since the ground is sandy, have you thought about chipping the tree branches to build up soil?
Yeah, we don't have a wood chipper right now, but I have been buying wood mulch. So expensive. And like in my garden, I use that a lot. And then I use the compost from the horses and the chickens. We've thought about maybe trying to spread that in the back eventually. But again, we kind of got to see how things go after we get cleared. But yeah, a lot of wood mulch has been really helpful in the garden.
Have you thought about hugelculture with the branches?
Yes, I have done that a little bit because I have those dead oak trees everywhere. Actually, a lot of my raised beds that I have in the garden are completely built from dead oak branches and sticks and filled with them, and then all the lovely horse manure that I get.
Cool. Now, I missed the explanation about the trees because our technical expert wasn't such an expert.
Touche. That was good, Darren.
So, we have predominantly oak trees, and they have oak wilt. And I'm sure an expert could come in and tell us which trees have it and which trees don't, but that would be really expensive. So we're just kind of opting for the easy route of getting rid of them all. And then we will replant with things that don't get diseases so easily in this area. Like we have maples and pine and alder and things like that do a lot better. But
now, you're talking before about the ones that are down, and that there's a lot of trees down.
The oak wilt makes them fall, and there's a video on my channel. It's called Can-Am something. My husband got a new 6x6 thing, but we drive through the back in that video, and you can see there's just trees, dead trees down everywhere, and some of them are huge.
Well, that's going to be my question, Michelle. Are these sizable trees, or are they just?
Oh yeah.
Well,
oh yeah.
Is the wood rotten?
Yeah, we have enough of them, and they're big enough that the company that's coming in to clear them is going to pay us to take them. And we have people that we know. One of them, her name is also Michelle. She was on here earlier. I don't know if she still is. She comes out and cuts wood from us because we need to get rid of it, and we don't have time to cut it. And she has time to cut it and heats her house with wood. So she comes out and helps us clean up and gets free wood. So that's been a nice way to meet some people in the area, is to be like, hey, we've got all these down trees. Come and take what you want.
Yep. Kilted Gardener's asking how about a retention pond?
We could maybe think about doing something like that. I'd have to see what Logan would think. You know, he's the boss at the end of the day. So I'm not sure if it would work because our soil is so sandy. We've tried to dig ditches in other areas, and when it rains really hard, they just fill right back in. We've had a drainage ditch off the side of our driveway so that when it all runs out, it doesn't flood a different area. And when we had an excavator here, Logan dug it probably 12 feet deep. It's completely filled back in less than a year because of all the sand that just... So anything that we do, it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
It's just incredible the way the ground moves, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, one of the questions I have kind of goes back into all of the wood that you have laying in the back that obviously is good enough that a lumber company would be willing to buy it from you. With the price of wood nowadays, I know of some homesteaders are going out and getting sawmills and creating their own lumber.
Quite a few are.
Yeah.
That's sweet. I have thought about it because my grandpa, that is the super homesteader, has his own sawmill. So
you have history on this.
It has definitely crossed my mind. I got to find a way to store it all. I don't want to ask my grandpa to keep a whole bunch of wood. Maybe I could barter with him. We'll see.
In that huge pole barn you have.
Yes.
It's pay for the dang horses.
Well, but if obviously I have no idea, but if the wood's sufficient, you could build 2 or 3 more barns with the wood you're cutting up.
I wish. Our property's really long and skinny, and our house and barn are on the few acres of it that are flat and not back in that wetland nonsense. So I don't even know that we could fit a whole bunch more back here. It would be in my garden.
Okay, well, but no, I was kind of curious because I do know there's a fair number of homesteaders that are doing that now.
Well, Trip H.
Well, Trip H is doing well, and
I'm saying because he's right here in the chat.
But even Off Grid with Doug and Stacy, doing a sawmill now. Dutch, keeping it Dutch, doing a sawmill.
Yeah, we have a few
reap what you sow.
Black cherry trees that I marked that the loggers can't have because I'm like, I want to do something with those. I'm not going to let them take those. I'm saving those for me. So, they're not big enough to build a barn out of those, but I don't have a dining room table. I'm actually in the dining room right now. I moved my husband's comfy chair in here. So I'm like, those black cherry trees could make a really nice dining room table for me. So that might have to happen.
That sounds awesome.
Well, actually, we have a nice oak dining table that, for the right amount of cherry slabs.
She's not down the street, Daryl.
Just
road trip.
I was just looking for solutions for everybody. That's all.
Talk to Jason.
We have a hand-me-down oak table from my husband's parents. We had to put it in our storage shed because it's not heavy enough. So the kids move it and unlock the sliding glass door at the top and then escape and run into the wilderness when they're not supposed to be running into the wilderness. So I want my husband to build a table because he can make a big heavy table that hopefully my 50-pound toddler can't move.
Kilta Gardner says here's an idea: grow some sycamore and river birches. They'll absorb lots of water.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I do want to replant in that area after we clear it, because I love that it's fully wooded. I like my privacy. Give me more trees. Where Logan's like, I want a shooting range, clear all the trees. So we're going to have to find a happy medium in there somewhere.
Incredible. Oh.
But no, if the trees are down and they've been down for a while, most of the timber will be usable as is. It should have dried through.
Yeah, it's pretty rotted. Like, you can grab it and it will crumble in your hands. Most of it would be better for the garden if I could get them to the garden. Some of them are just so big that it'd be really hard to get up there.
Yeah.
Oh, I see Charles is in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
So, very special welcome to Old Alabama Gardener, who's in the chat. And I'll just kind of speak for him here.
A wealth of knowledge.
Absolutely. If anybody has any questions about
Wow.
gardening, right there's the man to go to.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Kilta Roberts says you can tap the sycamore for making syrup. Well, I never knew that.
Yeah, I just did tapping for the first time last year with my maples, and I learned there's quite a few trees. I think you can tap birch as well and get syrup. So there's a pretty big variety. I think it just requires more gallons of sap to boil the syrup, which is why maple is the most common, because you have a higher sugar ratio to begin with.
I noticed that video on your channel. I noticed you also made cheese and chive scones.
Yeah. It was the cheddar drop biscuits. Very yummy.
So Daniel's seeing it's horses versus the gun range.
It is, which is why we needed more property even when we had almost 18 acres, because I want horses to run around, have plenty of place to stretch, and my husband wants 100-meter shooting range, which he had at our old property. He kind of has one laid out here. We just need to clear the space for it. So,
Well, when we had Crystal on a few weeks ago, they have a gun range on their property.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And did you hear the length of that gun range, Sherry?
No,
100 meters.
I was going to say, of course, Darren. Sit there and chuckle. Just wait till you get to Georgia.
Which, if it was really measured in American, it'd be 300 feet. But.
the worst thing is my husband went to sniper school. He trained us as sniper, but I am a terrible shot. He's tried to teach me a few times, and it's bad. Like, it's really bad. And I could blame it on his teaching skills, but I've watched him give other people shooting lessons, and he's actually really good at it. So I don't know. I'm just too hard-headed and don't listen to him because it's my husband. But it's bad. So that is also part of the reason I didn't go deer hunting this year, because I definitely need to practice more before I am shooting at anything that I want to eat.
That's why my two have lasers on them. I can't miss.
I think I'd be better with bow and arrow, honestly. I don't know what it is about shooting a gun, but it did get better after I changed my glasses prescription, because the first time he was trying to give me a lesson, I had like a 14-year-old glasses prescription. And then when I went in and had my eyes checked, they were like, "You're driving like this?" I was like, "Yes." And they're like, "Oh, that's really scary."
Oh, my.
I'm a -4 contacts in both eyes. So,
Wow.
yeah, it's
But if
bad.
you're shooting with a scope, you can adjust the scope for the eye relief to match where your eyes are at.
Oh, well, he never told me that. He just wants me to fail.
You can answer her. You don't have to type.
Oh, City Girl, no, because our Skype is reserved just for the one connection here for our host.
Yes, I shoot a gun like that. We have a very big berm, a very big berm. So even if I miss the target by a lot, it's just going into dirt. No one is in danger, I promise.
Okay, we have another caller here, so.
Have a feeling I know who it is.
City Girl, no, because our Skype is reserved just for the one connection here for our host.
It's Charles.
Yes, I shoot a gun like that. We have a very big.
Still got your video sound on, mate.
Okay, Charles, are you there with us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you have to turn your sound down on your computer.
On your YouTube part, you have to turn the sound down.
I have to do what?
Have to turn the sound down on your YouTube.
Oh, okay. I got you.
A very big berm. So even if I miss the target by a lot, it's just going into dirt. No one is in danger, I promise.
Okay, we have another caller here, so.
I have a feeling I know.
Okay, Charles, do you have your sound turned off there?
All right, now can you hear me?
We can hear you. Okay, go ahead and say hi to everybody.
Hello, folks. How's everybody doing this evening?
I'm good so far.
Yeah. It's supposed to get down to 26 here tonight, which is very, very cold for me.
Oh, it's probably close to that here tonight. I don't really pay attention because I'm in the house and it's warm and all the animals have their tank heaters in, so it doesn't really matter at this point.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm at 61 at the moment. I've got a jumper on. It's 61 here, and I've got a jumper on.
Huh. Okay. It's nice.
Well, you
60.
can come and help
I'm
me
gonna
with
scratch
chores
my
the next
nose.
polar vortex.
Yeah, it's probably right around freezing outside right now. So.
Mm-hmm.
I think the highest it got here today was about 35. So
Oh,
Yeah, it's
well, it was better than that here.
about what it was here. It was cold.
But you know what? Spring will come. Spring will come.
Not soon enough. I'm ready. I've had
I've
enough.
been buying seeds already.
Yeah, I've had enough winter. It snowed.
Mhm.
It snowed. We had cold. I'm done.
Well, I got 86 on Monday and Tuesday.
Ugh.
Well,
That's
I'll get
just
off
cruel.
and let somebody else on because somebody might be wanting to get on Zoom here with you. So I will.
Well, Charles, we can handle up to about 50 at a time, so don't worry about it.
Oh, really? Okay. I like Zoom. We use Zoom quite a bit in some of the other meetings and things that we do.
So yeah,
And of course, that picture behind me is not where I am right now.
no, I'm aware of that, and Charles, don't be offended, but nobody else is seeing that, but Sherry and I here. Well, I guess Michelle might be seeing it.
I can see it.
Yeah, only people that are on the Zoom call will see it because we're not broadcasting that out.
Yeah, the chat people can't see.
Right.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that's true. So who we talking with tonight?
Charles, our guest tonight is out of Wisconsin. Her name is Michelle,
Oh, okay, Michelle.
and
My daughter's name Michelle.
her husband was in the service for 10 years.
Just short of
Yep.
10 years.
Just-
Yes.
yeah.
Thank him for his service.
Yeah,
Most definitely.
for 10 years. She grew up in Wisconsin. She moved back to Wisconsin. Let me see if I get the story straight here. She moved back to an area that
How well were you listening? Being tested now.
she moved back to an area
Tangent.
that is known as the Northern Swamp,
Yep.
as she has a bunch of diseased oak trees that are just falling over for her. and causing drainage issues, apparently. And the ground is so sandy there that I don't know what she can grow. But she does grow some tomatoes, apparently.
Tomatoes.
So Charles, what's the best garden stuff to plant into sand?
Peanuts.
Peanuts. There you go.
Really?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't
peanuts
have to
well
grow
in
those
sand.
up here.
is it long enough season in Wisconsin there though?
That would be the other issue. And the answer is no. The way you fix sand, and I used to live in Florida many years ago, and that's all sand. So the way you fix sand is incorporate organic matter into it, compost.
Yep.
She has that. She has 2 horses that are doing that every day.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you don't spray your pasture with herbicide, do you?
No, I don't do any of that.
Okay, because a lot of people do to control broadleaf weeds, and then that herbicide picks up in the manure and carries right on into their garden if they use the manure in their garden. And I get a lot of people that will ask me, "My garden is not growing well. What's going on?" And I start asking them questions. And one of the questions I ask them, two questions really. One, have you rototilled in a bunch of wood chips? And if the answer is yes, then that's part of your problem. The second question is, are you putting any kind of manure on your garden? And so then I go into why manure is or isn't good, having to do with the pastures being sprayed with herbicides.
Yep. Yeah, I don't spray anything here. I just kind of let it go wild. For fixing our sand, pretty much what I've done is I've made little raised beds everywhere out of the dead logs that we have, and then I've brought in a mixture of topsoil and my composted manure, and then I've been planting into that, and it's worked really well.
Okay, the other thing you got to watch out for with topsoil, make sure it hasn't been collected from a farm that's been sprayed with Roundup.
Yeah, no, it hasn't been.
And of course, plain old wood leaves off the trees is a real nice addition to any soil.
I've been, now that I put all the beds, away for the year, so to speak, I'm taking all of the leaves from all of our trees and topping them with all the leaves, and then I'll just let them stay and probably add some more compost on top of them in the spring and then plant into that.
Yeah.
Well, Charles, they've been there for just a couple of years now, and they're building up their infrastructure. They're going to build some pasture area and stuff, and so they're just kind of, I'm going to say, redoing what maybe was there some years ago. Is that a fair statement?
And
yeah, because 50 years ago it was a cow pasture, and then it went wild after that.
And that's what it takes. It takes a building up. Nobody walks into a place usually anyhow, and it's just like they want it. So you gotta work on it. But you're young. You got time to do it.
That's the plan.
See, you're young. I'm 81 years old.
And you can probably kick my butt out there hauling manure too.
81 years old, and I'm doing a YouTube channel.
And doing very well at it too.
Charles, didn't you just hit a milestone here on your subscribers not too long ago?
Well, I'm getting, kind of intermediate milestone. My goal is 100K, and I'm about 4,000 away from that.
And I'm sorry, how much are you away from that?
About 4,000 away.
About 4,000. Mm-hmm. Oh, you're going to get there real quick.
Yeah.
All right, we have another caller here, so let me get them into the room. And they're joining. That tells me they're coming in on their computer. Well, hello, Terry. How you doing? Terry, can you hear me? She's going to have to figure this out, I guess.
Harry.
Can you hear me, Daryl?
I can hear
now
you.
we can.
Okay.
All right. So say hi to Michelle, and old Alabama Gardener is in the room here with you, and
Let me mute this.
and Darren
That's better.
from Australia is in here. So
Hello, Michelle.
Hello.
I had to sign into Zoom using a different account. I was trying to do it under my city girl name and it wouldn't let me. So I had to sign in using a different email. So one of the things I wanted to ask, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Busy.
busy.
We have a lot of plans for this place, for building more infrastructure, like getting the fencing done and pastures and adding in more animals. For, as I said, we would really like to start raising our own meat animals, even if it's just a few. You know, anything that you can do yourself is better than buying it from the store.
Oh yeah.
And as much produce as possible, and selling produce. I would really like to add bees onto the property at some time, but they make me a little bit nervous because that's a pretty big expense to get started in. And then I react badly to bee stings. I wouldn't go far as saying that I'm like super allergic to where I need an EpiPen, but if I if I get stung on my foot, it swells up to like a balloon and I couldn't put a shoe on. So I'm like, well, we'll see about bees. There's so many things it's hard to just pin down. And I'd really like to get back into the horse training again. I kind of put that on pause when I had the kids because you can't really set your kids down and go ride a horse with no one to watch the kids, because if you fall off and break your neck, no one's there to watch your kids. So when both of them are in school, I'd like to get back into training. I really miss it.
That'd be awesome to do. I would love to get into bees, but I'm on a 1/4 acre and I have a 10 by 40 garden. I'm like a quarter of it. I got a small space.
You've got a huge space.
No, I don't.
Find other
Compared to
properties
me.
that they can keep their bees at, that people will just let them have a hive like on a corner of someone else's property, and then you would have to travel to take care of them, which is, you know, a little bit of a bummer, but it's always a possibility.
My biggest problem is where I live, we're considered county. I'm outside of the city limits. But it's a normal, it's a normal city neighborhood. And with the things out here, yeah, there's a lot I can do. But there's a lot I'm limited to also.
Yeah. It's that struggle, wanting more land, and then can you afford it and then buy it before somebody else? Prices, you know, interest prices are so great right now. I'm on Zillow, I think, every day. Like, where can I find 40 acres? Nowhere, because somebody else bought it.
I look at property around here. Like, there's a berry farm across town, 66 acres. They want $700,000 for it.
Yeah. That's not my wallet.
A wooded area that's 70 acres and is bank owned. They want $700,000 for that too. And the other property, I wish I had the money for, but I'm not going to spend $2.2 million for a property for 122 acres.
Yeah. I see a lot of out here, like the old dairy farms that are no longer functional and have the really old rundown houses that you should probably just tear down. You can get 80 to 100 acres for a decent price if you want a house that you either have to completely redo or tear down. I would totally do it. There's no way I'm convincing the husband of that one.
Yeah, I don't think you would. It sounds like you gotta do a whole lot of city book converting though.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy because one of the first dates we went on, I took him to meet my horse because that's like a requirement. You have to pass the pony test. She did try and bite a few of my ex-boyfriends. He wouldn't walk in the pasture because there was poop in it. So,
Oh my gosh.
but he
I
passed the
remember
pony
when
test, so it worked out.
I
Obviously.
remember when I was 13, my best friend lived out in the country, and I was out in New Mexico, and my mom just bought me brand new sneakers for school, and that weekend I wore them out to her house and their farm, and they were not very clean when I got back home, and I was in so much trouble.
No
And
doubt.
the smell never comes out. Once you wear like tennis shoes in a pasture, I don't care how hard you wash them. If they get wet, it's gonna smell like.
Yeah.
I
My
won't
mom
say
was
that's
so
happened
mad at
from
me.
experience.
Well, here's an animal/dating related tip. If a police dog's biting the guy, he's probably not the one for you, ladies.
Right? Exactly. Bring your boyfriends here, girls. We'll test them out on my pony. She'll let you know.
Oh yeah.
But
So
as far as land prices, give it 12 months, and if the world settles down, land prices are going to drop back down again.
Yeah.
Because at the moment, everyone wants to go country and away from the city craziness.
Oh, I know. People have been buying up houses left and right down here. That's crazy. Oh, getting started on homesteading, that's such a tease. Michelle, if one of the things that you don't grow up there, if you could grow something that you don't normally grow up there, what would it be?
I didn't catch all that. What'd you say?
With the sandy soil you have, one of the things that you don't grow that you want to, what would it be?
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily soil related, but more of just I'm in Wisconsin. I would love to be able to grow citrus trees. That would be amazing to grow oranges or lemons or something like that. And obviously those grow in Florida, so I don't think those might stand so much, but we do not have the weather for anything citrus. I don't think my soil really stops me too much because I do have so much manure compost from the horses. Like, it's an endless supply of manure. So if I had a tractor and I could just scoop it in there, I could have a nice foot of manure through the whole garden easily. So while the soil is kind of a problem, it's only a problem if I'm being lazy and not hauling enough compost into the garden. If it's a problem, it's because of me. It's not because I don't have the resources to fix it.
Well, with the down trees you have, couldn't you have your husband, do you guys have a tractor?
We don't. We just bought a 6x6, so we have been using that for some stuff, but obviously that doesn't have, the same capabilities as like a tractor or a skid steer would.
Well, if you have like some thin trees that can be cut down, you could build a greenhouse using cattle panels and that.
Yeah, I do use them for a lot. I built arches in the garden and tomato trellises. I did completely from trees from the property, and I used a lot of the down wood in the garden, and they've been useful. For as annoying as it is having them everywhere, I will be sad when they're cleared out because I know there's going to be a day when I'm like, I need a giant branch for this, and I can't just walk in the back and grab one anymore because it's not going to be there. Luckily, I bet you I can get them from my neighbors because their property is pretty much the same as ours, except it's a little higher, but they have the same oak wilt problem over there. But one thing that I do like about our property, even though it washes out, is that we have a lot of rocks and small boulders. So when I want to be outside and the kids want to be outside, I go out in the back with my little shovel and I go walk around, hitting the shovel into the ground until I hear that like hard clink noise, and I know I hit like a decent sized rock, and I dig them up and I haul them up to the garden. So I'm making all these beautiful raised beds and rock walkways with all this free material from the back. So that's one nice thing.
You did good in Georgia because they have granite down there all over the place. Well, the reason why I say make a small greenhouse is because Gurney's seed company, they have plants. They have these trees, fruit trees called reachables, and you can grow them in containers.
Oh.
Because Deep South Homestead have them. They came out with them this year. And when I got my seed catalog this year, everything, they were having this big sale and it was like 50% off. And as the worst time of the year, and I didn't have the money. But next year, I'm going to get me some of them reachables and I'm going to put them in containers.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try growing them here.
I was thinking about getting some mushroom starter kits because I see people buy those and stick them in the oak logs. And I'm like, well, I have a never-ending supply of oak logs right now. And I love mushrooms. My husband won't eat them, but that would be something fun to try and grow.
Yeah, so the land does that. They have them.
Yeah.
That's something I was wanting to do next year. And I was like, what kind of wood I got? Because I don't know one tree. I know I have oak trees in my yard, and I got pecan, and I got oak trees across the street from me, a gazillion in my little area. But I never thought about doing that.
Yeah, well, and even if you don't have the right kind of tree in your yard, there's almost always people, on Facebook or Craigslist that they cut something down and they just want you to take it. So you can always probably find stuff to use.
Oh, I know. And I can talk to my neighbor's, his ex-cousin-in-law. She's got wood on her property that if I need anything, I could ask her and she'd let me get some.
Yeah.
Michelle?
Yeah.
Have you considered growing in what's called grow bags? They're usually 5-gallon pipe bags. They're made out of a plastic. They've got drain holes already in the bottom. And what you could do is you could take, say, 2/3 leaves and 1/3 horse manure, mix that around good, put it in a bag, and leave it set for a while to let that horse manure start to decay, and then you would have a planting bed. And it's going to be nice because one thing about it, it'll be grass free. Well, the horse manure might have some grass seeds in it, but you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
They're called
I
grow bags.
I tried a few grow bags for potatoes last year. Well, this year. And they worked pretty well. I think I might add in more grow bags. I haven't completely decided because I'm not sure if I'm going to grow potatoes again. As bad as that sounds, because they're really easy. I hate washing them, and I hate peeling them. I can get them from the store, and they're clean, and then I can just cook the potato with the skin on.
Yeah. Well,
No. You just did not say you're not going to do potatoes.
That's what she said. I knew
I'm going to try potatoes next year.
I knew Darren was going to pop up.
on something that takes up a lot of room like potatoes, yeah, I wouldn't use a grow bag for that. But you could grow one cabbage plant in a grow bag, for example, or maybe 2 broccoli plants in a grow bag. I have grown green beans in a grow bag, bush type green beans. Squash grows good in a grow bag. Trying to think of maybe a couple of other things that I've grown.
I think one of my friends that lives in Florida is growing carrots in a grow bag this year.
It's just another way to garden.
Yeah. Yeah, and with how my soil is, it either needs to be raised beds or bags or pots or something, because otherwise and that's why so crazy with hauling these rocks into the garden because I'm basically building myself 3 raised beds, and I'm just trying to use it to keep it from washing all of that compost in that I'm bringing in, because otherwise every time we get hard rain, I just watch it all leave the garden and then I pout.
Yeah, that's what sandy soil does.
Yeah. It's crazy with how you can just watch it running when we get a good downpour. So I need an endless supply of rocks. Luckily I have them. I got to get the muscles going to get them all up here.
Yeah.
Well, I just went out and bought some plastic containers last night to increase my growing space.
And what are you going to put in them, Darren?
Not sure yet. Maybe some beetroot.
Lazy housewife beans.
No, I've already got my lazy housewives in. They're doing fantastic. Nothing wrong with lazy housewife beans, because I'm a lazy housewife.
I sent my husband a picture the other day that said, I'm like a trophy wife, but a participation trophy wife.
No, I'm not a very good housewife.
Me
I don't know
either.
about that. I've seen the videos of you cooking, and that stuff looks pretty darn good.
You haven't seen the dust bunnies inside the house, though. Camera
Every
angles,
house
that's
has
the key,
them.
folks.
Every house has them, don't you know that?
She got that right.
Yeah, but they're dust sheep at my house.
It's insulation. Shh.
You just sweep them up and supplement the garden with them bunnies, right?
That's right.
Free fertilizer.
Charles, you have somebody's asking you a question here. How do you keep fire ants from your potatoes?
Yeah, I'm trying to type in an answer. I did a video on that. Not in potatoes specifically, but just how to control fire ants. And it's been a long time ago now. I think I used something called orange oil. So that's what I was just telling them here.
I tried that. I followed your video, Charles, for the fire ants here. Didn't work.
Well, you have to do it more than once.
Molten aluminium. That'll sort them.
What was that?
I'm not
What was that,
gonna melt a
Darren?
whole bunch of aluminum and pour it down a hole.
Molten aluminum.
Oh, okay.
There's also a
Yeah, it's called aluminium.
There's an artificial sweetener called Equate, I believe.
Yeah.
And if you get the ant hill when it's just really small, and sprinkle about 3 or 4, 5 maybe of those packages and open them, pour the Equate right on top of the hill, and you might have to do that 2 or 3 times, but that Equate will kill them also.
Ooh.
So that's an artificial sweetener. So a lot of people put it in their coffee, and I guess that's why so many people are. No, I'm not going to say that.
Well, I'm gonna have to try that because recently I did a video where I make lemon honey and garlic honey, and the one honey I have, I put the jar in my cabinet, and let's just say fire ants, because fire ants get into this house real easy. I had about 400 ants in my cabinet, and I had to spray a whole bunch of stuff through water, so I'm gonna get some of that Equate and put in there, and hopefully get rid of them.
Well, here's another thing you can do.
I fed my family members ants one time.
Yeah, if your fire ant problem is close enough to the house that you can take the water hose, turn the water on, and start it right down in the center of the mound, and just keep going down until you start flushing out all the eggs and ants. Okay, now that don't kill them. Well, it'll drown a lot of them, but pretty much it don't totally kill them, but it'll make them move. And then if they move out of the garden, I don't use any poisons in the garden. Okay, so then if I can get them to move outside the garden, then I'll use an ortho fire ant killer powder on them, and that'll kill them.
I've tried that here, and I've done bug spray run from inside of my house, and no, it don't work. I don't know
Borax.
why, but they're just so darn stubborn. I think I got Italian in them.
Borax and honey.
I'll have to try that next because the way my house is, on one side where the side door is, it's got, this house has had termites. My landlord just never fixed it, and it's got it on the other side of the house behind me. So I'm gonna have to try something to get rid of the termites and the fire ants because they're just driving me out of my mind.
And Michelle's going, what are you talking about fire ants? We got no fire ants up here.
No, the North don't know what. That's one good thing I can say about the North. I can pick up ants and they don't bite. Here they bite.
We don't have fire ants. We don't have cockroaches. We don't have
freakishly
spiders.
We have these things called palmetto bugs.
You don't have scorpions up there either, do you?
No, we don't.
Just cold.
Yeah, it kills everything.
Ooh, it's too cold for fire ants. That's true.
If you want some, I'll ship some to you. I'll ship you
guys
palmetto bugs too.
Beetles?
Huh?
Do you get problems with Japanese beetles?
Oh god, they tore up my peach tree this year. They tore it up.
Here.
I was talking to this feed and seed store I go to get my chicken feed. I was talking to one of the old timers there, and he goes, "Just get some 7 dust and put it on there." I said, "I don't want to. I have chickens right next to my peach trees. I don't want to hurt my chickens. I have my garden right there. I don't want to mess anything up." He started telling me some stuff to do, and I got a phone call, so I couldn't get talking to him. But the Japanese beetle on my peach trees were horrible this year. It turned my leaves to cottage cheese.
Yeah, in the summer I'm out there picking them off like 3 or 4 times a day. Luckily the chickens like to eat them. Will yours eat them?
Yeah, if I can get them to not fly away, and if I can reach them.
Yeah, usually
Japanese.
I do like a little jar of
Okay,
water
I'm gone.
and put it in the jar.
Daryl,
Say, Charles.
Later, Charles.
what did you bring these here for? For Darren?
Well, yeah, this is the size potatoes we like to go here. Somebody was saying that they cook them for 400 degrees for 20 minutes. These aren't even warm in the center at that point.
Darren, how's this?
That's a potato.
Yeah, that's a potato.
Nice.
I've got a sweet potato coming. That's going in one of those things too.
Oh, I love sweet potatoes.
Where am I going? With my hand. That thing. Whatever side the blue thing is on, that's my potato bin.
Potatoes are important.
Well,
They are. I just don't want to have to wash all the dirt off of them. And I like the skins. The skins have a lot of nutrition in them. And if I keep, it's really unpleasant biting into sand. And even when I'm scrubbing with my little brush, I cannot get it all out. So I'll probably still grow sweet potatoes because I don't mind, for whatever reason, I don't mind peeling the sweet potatoes. It's just like my Yukon Golds. I want to eat the skin, so I don't want to peel it. And apparently I'm not good enough at scrubbing all the sand off, so.
Lately, I've seen a lot of people put in that they put their potatoes in their dishwasher.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what?
They put their potatoes in the dishwasher.
because I know,
How do
like,
they
the
not
farms
cook?
have, like, the big power sprayers. That makes sense. I wonder if it would kill my dishwasher, though, filling it with sand.
Yeah.
And we have a septic tank, which probably wouldn't enjoy that either, but.
No.
Oh yeah, Instant Pot for potatoes. Yeah, I've started using my Instant Pot to make baked potatoes, especially since there's only Daryl and me. You can't.
I gotta
you
use
can't
my
beat it.
oven.
Well, I use my oven also.
I don't have an Instant Pot.
Wow.
Oven, microwave, fry pan,
Yep.
well,
saucepan. There's lots of ways to prepare potatoes.
I do have one last question here for Michelle. So, in your area, what's your biggest predator issue that you might have up in Wisconsin there? I mean, I don't know. Is it moose or deer or bears or bobcats or?
We kind of have all of the above. At my house, like things that would bother the chickens, I see hawks, eagles, raccoons, opossum. But there's bears, there's wolf sightings not very far from here, cougars. So we've got a little bit of everything. Not a lot of the larger predators, but they are here.
Yeah, I just wonder where you were at your property there, if you had direct dealings with any of these things that you had to take care of. And
we haven't yet. I know I had a fox come through at one point because I have hot wire around the bottom of my chicken coop, and it must have been sniffing around it one of the days when it was muddy outside, and you could tell when it made contact with the hot wire because there was little footprints and then like a streak in the opposite direction. So, and I have not seen fox prints again after that. And I'm sure we have bobcat things around here, but we have game cameras all over and we haven't picked any of those up. Doesn't mean they're not here, we just haven't seen them.
Okay. Well, it's been we've been on for an hour and 40 minutes?
Yep.
So it's been quite the Michelle, we thank you so much for being here. Let me just real quickly, we've got a couple people that are on the phone/line here. So Terry, any last thoughts from you?
No, just I would love to see you try growing hopefully try growing in containers. Just come in here and see how you do with that.
And our friend from Australia, Darren, how about you?
Well, remember, everything in Australia is a predator. They all want to kill you.
All the best horror movies that I've seen are based out of Australia, so I believe you.
Sherry, anything else?
No, I'm still being hit up for cheesecake.
Still.
You're always going to be here for cheesecake.
I know.
I already scored a promise for cheesecake. I'm good.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
But see, she's got an easy delivery from me. I'm right in the path of Big Bear.
In the path of Big Bear. I like that.
Yeah. I'm in the path of Big Bear Homestead. That's the same path.
That's right. That's right.
Detour.
When we've gone into Anderson with him, he says, Terry lives over there somewhere.
Yeah. The way they come up, they go right like 2 blocks from where I live.
Yep, that's what he said.
Okay, so folks, I want to thank everybody for being here. Special thank you to our moderators. Extra special thank you to those that are members of the channel. If you'd like to help out Two Family Homestead, we appreciate you joining the channel. You get to wear the little green outfits there and have special things happen, and we send you special thank yous every month.
Christmas presents for our Smudge Pack members are going out this month.
And with that, I'd like for you to remember that an orange is a berry, but a strawberry isn't. So next week, folks, we will have Mama Z's Texas Kitchen. Good night, folks.
Night, folks.